Hello and welcome to another video of reaction something or other, and we're going to be doing a reaction on Film Theory's Thanos vs Ant-Man pitch. So let's get into it.
Forward in time.
Wow.
To view alternate futures.
How many did you see?
14,600,000.
That is a lot.
How many did we win?
One. Jesus Christ.
Culmination of 21 movies, 10 years in the making, and this is what they come up with? It's brilliant!
Just a quick, I don't know. Go and subscribe to Film Theory. He is a great channel and explains the physics and whatever of films, like Infinity War.
Internet, welcome to Film Theory, the rear end game of YouTube. So, it's finally here. After a year of waiting, we're finally gonna find out how a team of superheroes defeats the strongest person in the universe. How they're able to topple a warrior so great that he controls all the elements of time, space, and reality. People are so excited to see the conclusion to this story.
I want to see Endgame. Well, I already have seen it, but I want to see like the extended version, because apparently there's something at the end which leads to another Endgame. Well, not another Endgame, but another third Infinity War. And apparently there's gonna be like new people who play the Avengers, which is probably not going to be very good because I don't really like it. But I don't like the fact that other people play the people like the Avengers. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore.
That pre-sale tickets have been sold out for months. But you know what? Us online already know the real story. We know how this whole thing wraps up, and no, it's not because we watched the leaks on Twitter. While everyone else is like, oh, time travel, us intellectuals know the real answer.
I have waited for this video to come out, by the way, and I have been looking for the for tweets. I'm sad. I know I'm sad.
And it's da butt. Although there's a lot of different variations to this theory online, they all come out something like this. Using Ant-Man's suit, Scott Lang will shrink himself down, crawl into Thanos' poop chute, and expand back to normal size, killing the Mad Titan once and for all by literally ripping Thanos a new one. Surprisingly enough, this theory first appeared on Reddit
Jesus
back
Christ.
in 2017, before Avengers Infinity War was even released. In June 2018, YouTube entertainment outlet Entertainment.ie actually sat down and asked Paul Rudd about the theory, to which he responded,
I almost think it's a question for Thanos. If there's one thing we learned from Infinity War is that Thanos could take a lot of punishment. It's an interesting it's an interesting tweet.
look at how nervous.
Yeah, just look at his face. It's as nervous as me when there's a new Arc update. Jesus, that is, by the way, that is immensely nervous.
He gets after this is brought up. You can tell that we're onto something. So this was probably the first time that it was really brought to Marvel's attention, but soon afterward they really started to get in on the joke. Thanos actor Josh Brolin got involved, posting a video of himself on a toilet to his Instagram account, along with the hashtag #FlushingAntMan. Shortly thereafter, the killer of memes himself, PewDiePie, called me out on it.
Sorry, MatPat, I'm doing your job here and I don't mean to step on any toes. Again, we are not making any assumptions. This is just a theory.
You know what, Felix? You are absolutely right. We don't want to make any assumptions, which is why since the day you made that video, I have been researching this thing to get you, Felix, the most accurate, scientifically correct answer possible. Because if there's one thing I know the meme community appreciates, it is hard-hitting scientific research on the realism of an alien's butthole. So
That file could probably scar anyone in the universe.
day, Thanos is gonna find a bug up his butt, but is that gonna be enough to kill him? Using my all-powerful Theorist Stone, I can only see two possible outcomes here. One, Ant-Man could succeed and give Thanos the most explosive diarrhea of his life, or two, Ant-Man's expansion is no match for Thanos' purple rectum and would actually be crushed himself when he tries to expand. It would be like the trash compactor scene from Star Wars, except in reverse. Interestingly enough, both of these outcomes do have precedent in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. In the original Ant-Man film, Scott Lang runs through ant tunnels, as one does, before expanding to normal size and breaking through the ground. However, in Ant-Man and the Wasp,
That's because there would probably be it's not as hard as wood and brick, so it'd probably be easier to like snap through. Wood, it wouldn't be that hard just to expand through.
Ant-Man
Oh
attempts
God,
to
it's her
expand, but
again.
ultimately
Please
gets
help me.
constrained by the walls of the room around him.
It's
The
her
first
again.
example shows us that Ant-Man is expanding with enough force to break through the layers of the earth above him, but the second example shows us that it's not.
That person who just shouted moment was the beast from the deep. She has come to kill us all. Please run away. Escape now.
Not so much force that he can break through a wall. Additionally, you'll notice that he expands as much as he can to fill that larger space, which can leave him in some pretty tight and very uncomfortable positions, though certainly not as uncomfortable as he will be soon enough. The universe demands it, Ant-Man. Oh, and just a quick insert here as we're finishing the edit on this episode.
Oh
A
my
video on this exact topic was just released yesterday by my friend Kyle Hill on his channel Because Science. And
Go
apparently he
watch and subscribe to Because Science. Oh, sorry again. Please no, run away. Go subscribe to Because Science. Oh God, sorry again. Please no. It is the beast from the deep. Please run and escape. Anyway, subscribe to Because Science. Because Science. So yeah, and like his videos. But this is not a sponsor. This is just just a nice person trying to
some of the exact
subscribe.
same examples that I did in that previous section. I'm just gonna leave a link to it in the description. It's actually a really fun analysis. Analysis? But before anyone goes claiming that one person is ripping off the other, we've actually been working on this particular episode since April 2nd. And we actually wound up using a different methodology than Kyle to solve this exact problem, which is actually a really cool coincidence, since if we both come to the same conclusion by the end of this episode, well, we just kind of verified each other's answers on this very fictional.
I mean, that would probably make sense because those two are pretty good friends, so it probably does make sense for them to be working together. I mean, it would be pretty factual. It would make sense because they are two really good theorists working together to conclude one theory. So yeah.
Very bizarre scenario. So anyway, just wanted to call that out before we got much deeper into this video. We all good. We good. Kyle, I love you. Great minds think alike. Keep up the awesome work, man. By the way, since I'm talking to you right now, your Mortal Kombat series is phenomenal. Okay, so the key to this theory is understanding the relationship between stress and strain. And no, we're not talking about the emotions that I feel when I think about how many more scripts I have to write this week. No, in material physics, stress is defined as the internal pressure of an object, while strain is the amount that material expands as a result of stress. So for every material, these two things start out in a linear relationship that's defined by Hooke's law. When one goes up, the other one goes up proportionally, which makes sense when you think about it. If you put stress on any material, it stretches. When you let it go, it snaps back. This is called, fittingly enough, the elastic region. So in order to survive this back attack, Thanos better hope his region is pretty darn elastic. I'm sure Hook must be rolling over in his grave right now, knowing that his law is being used for something like this. The relationship between stress and strain is unique for every material, which also makes sense. You can push really hard on a piece of steel and it's barely gonna stretch, or you can push really hard on a piece of plastic and it's probably gonna stretch a lot more because plastic is just a lot more elastic. When you graph the relationship between stress and strain, they create what engineers called a stress-strain curve, because engineers, at least in this case, don't come up with fun titles for things. Taking a look at it, notice how this curve looks a little wonky. Like, it starts out straight and then it goes all bendy. Point A on this graph is where the material being tested no longer obeys Hooke's law. In real life, you would say that this is where the material starts to act a little funny and you start getting into territory where you could start doing some damage. Point B of our little graph is called the elastic elastic limit of the object. And it's the point where if you push on the object anymore, you're gonna permanently deform it. Taking this hypothetical example straight up Thanos' rear end, this is the point where if you were pushing on his internal organs, like say his colon from the inside, it wouldn't exactly snap back. You'd start doing serious damage to tissues, maybe even his colon walls would start to deform
they wouldn't
permanently.
start to-
But we need to go
yeah, it was like a
way
deform.
beyond that if Ant-Man is actually gonna
which
leave
would
a
probably
lasting
kill him.
impression on Thanos' digestive tract. So we need point D, the ultimate tensile strength point that represents the maximum amount of stress the object can receive, and then after this point, the material goes through a process called necking, which is a weird word to use when you're thinking about a purple alien's chubby cheeks. Necking is where the material continues to expand, but it stretches and gets really thin. And so translating this into our hypothetical Marvel scenario, this is where we'd have more and more of Thanos' anal tissue start to give way as Ant-Man's rapidly expanding suit explodes like a trip to the toilet after Chipotle. Finally, we
my
get
God,
ourselves
Chipotle.
all the way to point E. This is the fracture point, the
Into
point where the
America once, it's
object
absolutely
breaks.
amazing.
This
It's
is
like,
the point where there's
oh,
no more
yes.
cushion for the push-in, and Ant-Man breaks out. Let me just take this opportunity to
Oh,
reds you all that you
please,
asked for this
God.
theory. I wash my hands of this, mostly because
Oh,
that's what
oops.
you're supposed to do after you...
No, the ads. Oh god, no. Skip.
get all up in someone's butt. Great, now it's time to take Thanos'
I've
butt
given you.
and plug in
Please
some
no.
numbers. Crazy enough, some scientists in the Journal of Biomechanics actually produced a stress-strain curve for the human rectum.
We have to end here.